Closing thoughts on Godzilla minus one. I think who's ever listening to this, you should watch the movie. It is a very good movie. Your mom will like this movie. If you don't think you would like a Godzilla movie, but you like learning about history, you like human drama, good acting, you're going to like Godzilla minus one. It's got very broad appeal. All the technical aspects are perfect. Your cinematography, your special effects, your sound, your music, your acting, your costumes, your sets, your lighting, everything. It's got no fat on it. I was never bored. I was on the edge of a seat. I'm glad it's doing well. There's a lot of people in theaters enjoying it. There's a lot to dig deep into the movie because of the history, because of Japanese culture. I mean, it's really human history at this point. The themes that are discussed in Godzilla, it affects everybody. Obviously, it all starts with World War II. That's kind of the genesis of this movie in a lot of ways. That war started the Godzilla franchise, which is 70 years old now. Another thing I just want to mention, my last things I want to say is it's a great movie. There's lessons here that we touched on of why it's a great movie. It's not because the budget's big. It's not the budget. It's because the people who made the movie really liked the movie. They had passionate ideas about the movie. The actors wanted to be there. Everybody was on board because it was a good idea. And as you said, I think, they took their time with the special effects. They didn't rush the special effects. And I think that's what makes it a good movie. It's a great movie. And I just think there's a lesson there for all these other movies. We talked about DC and Marvel movies and just movies that flop. They're being rushed out like as a product. There's no real passion there. And, what I like the most about movies is going to the theater and forgetting I'm watching a movie and I'm actually having an adventure. I think you can't be a cynic for that to happen. At least I don't think so. I think it helps not to be a cynic. When I go into a movie, I try to leave all my cynicism at the door. So I'm open-minded and I want to forget stuff. I want to be transported away. And I think that's what a really good movie does, whether it's a Marvel movie, a DC movie, or a Godzilla movie like this. And I think that's a goal for a lot of movies. I think the goal for a lot of movies is just to kind of forget you're watching a movie and just be engrossed in it. And like I said, Godzilla minus one does that. And I think it does it because people focus on the right things. It's not the budget. It's not the speed of producing it. It's not how much money they're going to make. It's because everybody has a good story to tell. And those are my thoughts.
I agree with all those points. Folks, if you've never seen Godzilla, go watch this movie because you're going to see him at his best. You're going to see the best qualities of why this is a 70-year-old franchise. You won't have to watch the other 36 movies total or the other 32 Toho movies to get it. Just watch this movie and you will understand. And I'll emphasize again something we mentioned earlier, which is we talked a lot about the details of this movie and the spoilers. And the majority of what we talked about was not Godzilla. It was the human. It was the human scenes. And that is what makes this movie different. If you watch this movie and then you go watch Kong versus Godzilla, you will see the world of difference of what makes a masterpiece Godzilla movie. And it's not the $200 million plus budget. It isn't, folks. The other thing I will say is watch it on the biggest screen possible. If you can watch it in IMAX, there is a difference. Like Godzilla's roar hits differently. That atomic breath hits differently when you watch it on the big screen. When you watch it with a really good sound system, it just feels very different. And the last thing I will mention, again, especially for people who are not used to Godzilla, you need to go see this movie soon because traditionally Japanese Godzilla movies don't stay in theaters for very long. Like, I would not expect this movie to still be in theaters in January. If it is, that's because it's doing really well because people went and saw it. Shin Godzilla, when it came out in 2016, the last time we had a Toho Godzilla movie, it was out in less than a month. So go see it now, folks. See it while you can. Enjoy it while you can. And be thankful that we are in an era where we can watch a movie like this and enjoy its beauty. The last thing I will say is for families out there, this is rated PG-13. It is a little scary. So you should definitely think of your kids who are under 13, whether they're ready for this film. But what I will say is this film is a great way if you have struggled to talk to your younger kids about modern war in the sense of what's happened in Ukraine, what's happened in Israel and Palestine. This movie will give you an opportunity to do so, because this movie is all about war, but it portrays it in such a way that you can talk about it in a modern context and spark that conversation and teach your kids or just teach yourself. And again, that's the best part of Godzilla, is that Godzilla is here to really put a mirror back on ourselves and teach us about ourselves and how we can be better. And that is it for me.